Greetings, friends, and welcome to another ministry of the Victory Hour here on YouTube. My name is Jim Gallagher. I am the pastor at Clavel Assembly who brings to you this YouTube channel, and welcome to it. Now, I'm taking a break from some eschatological discussions, which we will return to the next time. So our next posting, we're going to go back to talking about apocalyptic language. I think I'm going to talk about the new heavens and new earth. This is a big question many people have. How could Christ have come in the first century? Because when he does, he destroys the old heavens and earth and creates a new heavens and earth. You want to talk about that? Let's do it next time. But now I'm talking about the powers, well, there is a certain clique of very powerful elite people, and they're not all hidden, that want to massively depopulate the earth. They want to depopulate the earth. And if people have to die, they're happy to have it happen. And these aren't a few people, and they're not nobodies. And this isn't conspiracy theory, and I'm going to talk to you about it. Now, last two postings, I was talking to you about what started in 1974 and 1975 under Richard Nixon and Gerald Ford, where the Kissinger report was offered up. And the whole point of the Kissinger report, you can get it online in a PDF. It's about 123 pages. It outlines how we would nefariously take natural resources of great value out of the ground of poor countries, and we need to keep doing that for decades because we're a superpower, we're high tech, and those poor countries, they're not going to make proper use of that. They wouldn't even know what to do with it. So we need to get our hands on it before maybe like the communists do. And so therefore we're going to do that because the population of the world is too big, and we're a superpower that have to stay strong because we're the good guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and kill off as many people in certain third world countries and cause them to have massive depopulation so they remain weak and poor. That way they won't have any resistance when we said, hey, we'll give you a little carrot, now let us take your uranium out of the ground or whatever it is they have in there. And we had ways of bullying them. And so under the guise of helping the poor in 13 specific, or was it 14? 13 or 14 specifically named countries, we'd go in there and by using our muscle, look, we just want to take some stuff out of the ground. You're not using it, but we'll do this and this and this for you. But mass depopulation, to keep them weak, to keep them poor, so that they don't offer any resistance down the road, because we need that stuff to flow freely. It's all spelled out in the document. You can look it up and you can read the document for yourself. You can read about it in the encyclopedia. It's not a conspiracy theory. The Kissinger report, Memorandum 200. And we would use abortion to kill off some of these people. We would use food power. That's what they called it, food power. Using food as leverage. So they're poor, and they're starving to death. And we're the technical nation that can do so much. And we can do so much for them and give them some food, but you got to pass out all these contraceptives, but abortion is going to be made available, but we're going to give some freebies. We're going to help you people get housing and schooling and medical care. But if you're going to get these things, you got to be sterilized. And for families that are larger, that's a no-no. No large families. Families that are larger, they go at the bottom of the list of who gets food, shelter, clothing, and schooling. Well, they got all those mouths to feed. Well, they shouldn't have had so many people in their family. Now, these are third world countries. In other words, go die. This is back in 1974, 75. And Peru, the Peruvian government said in like 2002 in a report, the United States has been doing this the second half of the last century. And in Peru, there was forced sterilizations. And on it goes, okay? I'm not going to repeat all that. That's the last two videos. Go watch those if you're interested in it. Now, I did say I wanted to talk about climate change. And by the way, so in other words, all I'm saying is there is a push right now by globalists to depopulate the earth. They want to kill off a lot of people. It's not a conspiracy theory. These anti-human, we want to live forever, super rich people that want to be part human and part robot so they can be like gods and live forever. And you don't need that many peons. Besides, they take up all the stuff that we need, the rich and the powerful. So they have ways of making that happen. You say, oh, this is ridiculous. Well, I'm going to give you one of many examples today, and that is the climate change scientists. But hold on. I want to read a little biblical context here. John chapter 8. John chapter 8. Jesus says, I'm going to jump in at verse 36, and he's speaking to the Jews, and he says, if the Son therefore shall make you free, ye shall be free indeed. I know that ye are Abraham's seed. Biologically, he means. I know that ye are Abraham's seed, but ye seek to kill me, because my word hath no place in you. They don't like what Jesus was saying, so they're plotting to kill him. And it's not any different today. If they could, they'd kill President Trump. And they just may have plans to do that. When they're done with this lawfare, if they could put him in jail and something bad might happen, Do I know that they're going to do that? No. But look, this crowd, if you can't see the lawfare with President Trump, then your eyes are shut. You don't want to see it. You hate Trump so much, you don't want to see the obvious in front of your face. It's lawfare. And these people will do anything to get their globalist, Marxist, fascist, New World Order, Tower of Babel power that they all hunger and thirst for. If you think they're all on the same team, I don't think so. Because there's different evil entities vying for the same power, and they just as soon kill each other. It's kind of like the Bolshevik Revolution. You had the Bolsheviks, communists, and the Mensheviks, communists, and you had the Jewish Bund, communists. Those three revolutionary groups in Russia were vying for a communist revolution, but they were fighting for who's going to be in control. You had the Jewish Bund, you had the Mensheviks. Now, the Mensheviks said, let's have communist revolution through attrition. It needs to take a long time, but we'll slowly corrode from underneath, and then they'll just fall in our lap. The Bolsheviks were more violent. They said, let's make it happen now. Put a knife to their throats. Well, in the end, the Bolsheviks won the battle, killing their own brethren who believed in the principles of Karl Marx. And I'm saying this hardcore woke left will do that with each other, and when the dust settles, someone's going to be king of the hill, if they get their way. Well, this goes back to the days of Jesus, right? Because I tell you the truth, you're looking to kill me. He says, I know that ye are Abraham's seed, but ye seek to kill me, because my word hath no place in you. I speak that which ye have seen of my father, and ye do that which ye have seen of your father. They answered and said unto him, Abraham is our father. Jesus saith unto them, if ye were Abraham's children. Now, I just said you were Abraham's seed, right? He just said that in verse 37. He meant biologically, but now Jesus is speaking spiritually. The sons of Abraham by faith, spiritually, which is what's most important to God. He says, if ye were Abraham's children, ye would do the works of Abraham. In other words, if you were his spiritual heirs, you'd do like him. But now ye seek to kill me, a man which hath told you the truth. This is the woke society we're in today. They'll cancel you. They'll cut you off. They'll deplatform you. They'll take away your right to free speech. And they'll find every backhanded excuse to rip it out from underneath you. They're doing that with President Trump. They're doing that with a lot of conservative commentators on the platforms that they speak on. They're booted off this platform, that platform, and the other platform. Now the Democrats, the federal government, are trying to go after Alex Jones because they don't like what he said. It doesn't matter what you think about Alex Jones. It used to be the ACLU would stand up for the right of the Ku Klux Klan to state their case publicly if they want. But we're so far removed from that now. Not that, promoting the Ku Klux Klan. I'm just saying that the liberals used to protect free speech. Now they're the enemies of it. Now Jesus says, ye seek to kill me. But now ye seek to kill me, a man that hath told you the truth, which I have heard of God. This did not Abraham. He's saying, you say you're Abraham's seed, but you seek to kill me. Because I tell you the truth. That's not what Abraham did. See, Jesus is saying, you're no true seed of Abraham. He says, ye do the deeds of your father. He leaves their father unnamed for the moment. Then said they to him, we be not born of fornication. Now that's an insult to Jesus, because the Jews believe Jesus wasn't born of a virgin. Mary fornicated with a Roman soldier. That's in the Talmud. That Jesus was a bastard child. So they say to Jesus, because Jesus just said, you don't have Abraham as your father. And they said, we be not born of fornication, but as if to say, but we know someone here that has been born of fornication, and that's you, Jesus. That's what they're saying. They said, we be not born of fornication. We have one Father, even God. Wow. Jesus said unto them, if God were your father. Now he's just saying, if Abraham were your father, you do the works of Abraham. Now he says, if God were your father, ye would love me. For I proceeded forth and came from God, neither came I of myself, but he sent me. Why do ye not understand my speech? Even because ye cannot hear my word. The time's going by. He says, ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your fathers ye will do. Now this is what I want you to hear. So you don't have Abraham as your father, you have the devil as your father. And he says, he was, speaking of the devil, he was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. And because I tell you the truth, ye believe me not. So I read that all to get this. Satan, according to Jesus, was a murderer from the beginning. He was a murderer who hated truth. It's like the woke crowd. They're murderers who hate truth. Or want to be murderers. I told you about the Georgia Guidestones that were in Georgia, and they, like the American Stonehenge, and someone planted a bomb there and blew it up, and it didn't take the whole thing down, so the locale in Georgia decided to take the rest down because it wasn't safe. And I went to the encyclopedia just to, it's really something else. It really is. Although I don't really have time for this. I just don't have time for it. Well, I've got, for instance, the Washington Post. Far right calls U.S. Stonehenge satanic and cheered when it blew up. This is the Washington Post, left-wing rag, July 7th, 2022. And then they talk about, by Amy Cheng. Go look at that article. Go see what the Georgia Guidestones were about. They were put there by wealthy people that remained anonymous to send a message to America, and this is decades ago, back in the 70s. And etched in stone, as if they're the tables of commandment, in that granite they carved their own 10 commandments. You want to hear them? Look it up. This isn't conspiracy theory. Look it up. Georgia Guidestones. Inscription number 1, maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. 500 million? Oh. I mean, at the time when this was written, the Earth's population was about 4 billion. And they say we need to cut the population down to 500 million. You're talking about mass extermination. And now, what are we at now? 8, 9, heading towards 10 billion? 500 million? 500 million, that's nothing. Depopulation, etched in stone in Georgia, copying Stonehenge. Unbelievable. That's commandment number 1. Commandment number 2, guide reproduction wisely. Oh, guide reproduction. Control the population. Memorandum 200, the Kissinger Report. Control the population of foreign countries, particularly these poor countries where those people can die and it's okay because they're not going to amount to much. But we're a superpower and we need their stuff that's in the ground. So if we got to cull humanity to save the planet, it might as well be the right people that get knocked off. Guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Are we going to have global government saying how many children we can have? And they better be healthy children and not deformed people that have issues. Improving fitness and diversity. Is this like the Nazis, you know? Is this eugenics and we need to, get rid of all the people that have issues and we're going to create a Superman race? What are we doing? This is just like the Kissinger Report. Maintain humanity under 500 million. Guide reproduction. Are they going to enter into the bedroom of couples? What are they going to do? Are they going to... Go read Memorandum 200. Unite humanity with a living new language. Oh, here we go. Tower of Babel. We can all come together and have one language. Yeah, that'll be good. Rule passion, faith, tradition. Rule passion. Rule faith. Rule tradition. And all things with tempered reason. Oh, who's going to decide that? Don't be zealous in your faith for Christ. They may frown upon that as being radical, and they'll do something about it. This is tyranny. They etched it in stone. Protect people from nations with fair laws and just courts. Yeah, what courts are those? Number 6, let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. See, Constitution out the window. The last say will be the world court. Number 7, avoid petty laws and useless officials. Well, that's almost all of them. Number 8, balance personal rights with social duties. Ah, yeah. Yes. Balance personal rights with social duties. It sounds good, and generally speaking, it's true. But coming from them, that's danger. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. Well, that's just to make you feel good. Number 10, be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Well, you're going to cut humanity down now from 9 billion to 500 million. Yeah, there'll be lots of room for nature. Now, you think these things are conspiracy theory. Now, I got to get to the global warming thing. I am reading an article. Brace yourself. These nuts that are promoting global warming as a means through which to cause global revolution and the consolidation of the wealth in the hands of the globalists and the serfdom of the balance of humanity, which must include the culling of much of humanity. And guess what? It's all part of the program. And there's lots of guys in this. Believe me. And I don't have time. I could lay out a map of all different famous people that have been saying things along these lines. I don't have time for that. I'm going to give you one example here, because it's probably the most imminent and in our face. All these global warming kooks. You say, you're denying the science. No, I'm denying their Marxism, leftism, wokeism, anti-Christianity, and anti-humanity frame of reference. They're hungry for power. World Economic Forum, World Health Organization, the United Nations, the Bilderbergers. There's all sorts of groups. And a lot of United States leaders, along with the leaders of most other developed countries. Let me prove my point, because I'm short on time. Oh, yes, I am. I am reading from MSN. MSN. I'm not reading from InfoWars. I'm not reading from some right-wing conspiracy site. I'm reading from MSN News. That's leftist, pro-climate change, pro-woke, pro-transgender assault on our little children, and too bad if the parents don't like it, people. MSN. The article is entitled Reach... Oh, no, wait a minute. Oh, I don't have the first page. Oh. Okay, here it is. Climate scientist calls for mass depopulation to fight global warming. And this was... Where's the date? You see, I printed it off because I was reading it online. I only printed out the pages I wanted. I don't have the date, but it's only like 2 weeks ago. It's entitled, Climate Scientist Calls for Mass Depopulation to Fight Global Warming. MSN News. Google it, you will find it easy peasy. Because it's recent, a couple weeks ago. So, this is what we read. Hold on. There's a certain order I ought to read these different quotes, because I'm not going to read the whole thing, just 3 short things. Renowned climate scientist Bill McGuire has stirred controversy with his alarming proposal for combating global warming. Well, how does Bill McGuire, renowned climate scientist, want to combat global warming? According to MSN News. Here's how. Mass depopulation. Mass depopulation. That's how we're going to solve the global warming problem. According to the renowned climate scientist, Professor Bill McGuire. Did I have his... Well, it doesn't matter. Let me just keep reading. McGuire suggests, listen to this. McGuire suggests that a pandemic with a high fatality rate is the only viable solution to curb emissions and avert catastrophic climate breakdown. McGuire's call for depopulation echoes sentiments. He said, this is just some crazy guy with some weird... This is one scientist. He may be a renowned climate scientist, but he's just one nut job. Well, that's what I might think, too. But you'd be wrong. You'd be wrong according to MSN News. Maguire's call for depopulation echoes sentiments expressed by other influential figures associated with globalist organizations like the World Economic Forum. He's saying what many other influential, powerful people say, the likes of which the kind of people that go to the World Economic Forum, Davos. The notion of sacrifice, this is the MSN author in the article, the notion of sacrificing human lives, sacrificing human lives. The notion of sacrificing human lives to achieve environmental goals is a troubling trend, gaining traction among certain elites. Well, they were around back in the 70s, right? These fellas put up the Georgia Guidestones. Seems to me that the United States government, along with Henry Kissinger, the Secretary of State, were, at least to some degree, in favor of this program because they were looking for mass depopulation so we can remain powerful. And the whole paper is meant to say, oh, there's too many people on the earth, we got to do something. Yeah, something. The notion of sacrificing human lives to achieve environmental goals is a troubling trend, gaining traction among certain elites. And then we read listen to this terminology, the normalization of depopulation discourse within influential circles reflects a disturbing trend. I can't believe all these descriptions coming from MSN. This is not some far-right site. This is not a right site. This is not a center site. This is not a left site. This is an extreme left site. This is MSN News, establishment media. Because the establishment media now is far left. They talk about far right, and they're talking about like what regular Americans believed just 30 years ago. Far right. Liars and murderers like Satan. Let me read this section here. I didn't finish. MSN. The normalization. This is becoming normal in certain groups, but they're very influential groups. The normalization of depopulation discourse within influential circles reflects a disturbing trend towards devaluing human life in pursuit of abstract environmental objectives. Such rhetoric disregards fundamental ethical principles and threatens the sanctity of human right. And let me read the actual tweet that scientist put out. Now, here's the thing. I want to say this, too. You say it's a crackpot. No, this is now common amongst the powerful globalist elite, according to MSN. And by the way, in 2017, 20,000 climate scientists, 2017, 20,000 climate scientists signed a paper saying in order to save the world from the catastrophe of global warming in the imminent future, we need a radical depopulation of the earth. 20,000 climate, quote unquote, scientists. Ted Turner, he'll tell you all about this because he believes it. Well, here's what Professor Bill Maguire, the renowned climate scientist, actually tweeted. Oh, let me give you a quick bio here. Bill Maguire, professor of geophysical and climate hazards at University College London. He co-authored climate policy for the United Nations. And he previously advised politicians on the UK's COVID-19 pandemic policies. Let's revisit that in a moment. What did he actually tweet that caused this storm? It was a firestorm online, if you didn't know. This is what he tweeted, verbatim. He deleted it the next day. But this is what he tweeted. Quote, "If I am brutally honest, the only realistic way I see emissions falling as fast as they need to avoid catastrophic climate breakdown is the culling of the human population by a pandemic with a very high fatality rate." We need the culling of the human population. Now, culling, you know what that means. I looked up the definition anyway, out of the dictionary. Here's the dictionary definition of culling. Quote, "to select or discard something from a group, especially as being inferior or worthless." Genocide? Mass murder? When you're talking human beings, that's what we're talking about. And what did the esteemed Professor Bill McGuire tweet? He says, "If I am brutally honest, the only realistic way I see emissions falling as fast as they need to avoid catastrophic climate breakdown is the culling of the human population by a pandemic." Maybe a Wuhan lab one? "With a very high fatality rate, exasperated by maybe the solution to the virus? Vaccines?" Oh, no. Okay, but hold on. See, Bill McGuire said the bad part out loud. So the next day he had to remove his tweet because everybody was screaming bloody murder. Well, this is old. This is not new. It's just that he said it out loud for public consumption in a popular way where people would see it. But he deleted the tweet, and this is what he said after he deleted it. He said, quote, "I deleted it not because I regretted it." Well, you gotta admit, he's being honest there. "I deleted it not because I regretted it, but because so many people out there have mistakenly or intentionally taken it the wrong way." He says it's about suddenly falling economic activity, not people dying. Oh, Billy, it seems like you're a liar. He says it's not about people dying. What did he say? "If I am brutally honest, the only realistic way I see emissions falling as fast as they need to avoid catastrophic climate breakdown is the culling of the human population by a pandemic with a very high fatality rate." That's not talking about people dying. That's talking about bad economics. And this man advised the politicians in the UK on their COVID-19 pandemic policies. So you just think about that. I won't draw any conclusions. Who am I to judge? Well, where's my... Oh, I'm out of time. I'm over time. I could go another 3, 4, 5 episodes talking about the powerful elite and their declarations and their plans and the systems that they've set up to help bring this about. Now they're talking about bird flu. after the Wuhan, China virus and the ram through vaccines. The death rate is up since then. The death rate seems to be up in all the countries that were well vaccinated. So, I don't know. Could be a coincidence. Maybe it is. God help us. See, Jesus said, "You are of your father the devil. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth." He was a murderer and he hated the truth. That's like the whole woke left movement. And that includes so many of our leaders in Washington, D.C. We're in trouble. We're on the verge of World War III. We're on the verge of nuclear war. Russia said, if the United States supplies Ukraine with missiles that can come into Russia, we'll resort to nuclear. We've already supplied it, and they've been shooting them. You say, but that could end up with millions dead. Yeah, well, that should make all of us sad. But for a small, elite, powerful, growing number, that won't make them so sad. The Lord sees all this. Do not worry. The Lord is in control. But there may be bad things coming up ahead, and we need to mean business in the United States. And if we keep this regime in there, that's there now. I don't see the brakes ever being. It seems like it's now or never we put the brakes on. It seems to me, we're in the last inning. We're up to bat. This is it. And what shall we do? We come back next time. We're going to talk about apocalyptic language. Might as well talk about apocalyptic language because the world all around us is talking about literal apocalyptic happenings. And some seem to be gloating in it. This is Jim Gallagher, reminding you in the words of our blessed Lord and Savior, "Ye shall know the truth. The truth shall make you free."